This is an instructional video on how to set up Grim from Spirit Halloween. Once receiving the prop and opening up the box, all of the parts should include as follows. The rib cage with control box, the left and right arm with connected hands, the 2 feet molds, the head, the base, the upper leg pulls, the lower leg pulls, and the 4 skeletal leg molds. To begin your process in setting up Grim, you're going to want to grab his base and place it on a flat surface. Now once this is complete, you're going to want to grab both of his feet pieces and fish them through the poles as shown here. Once the process for the feet is complete, you're going to want to grab his 2 lower skeletal leg molds and fishing them through the pole into the hole cut in the top of the feet pieces. Now there is a specific way that these leg pieces go. Once found, it should be an easy install. The next step is to fish the corresponding leg poles into the molds for the feet. Now that being the pole labeled B in the front of Grim, and then the pole labeled C fished through the back. Once fished through, you're going to want to pin lock these poles into place, snapping just like that. Now the next step is to pin lock the poles labeled D onto the top of the poles that we already put on fished through the leg molds. Now these 2 small poles are both labeled D, meaning that it doesn't matter which orientation you snap these poles into place. Now the next step in your setup for Grim is to grab his 2 upper femur molds and fishing them through the corresponding poles we pin locked earlier. Now keep in mind, one of the legs is labeled I as the other is labeled F. Now the I is going to be fished through the back pole of Grim, and then F is going to be fished through the front facing pole. Now the next step for Grim is to grab his rib cage with his control box and pin locking it into place with the other already pin locked poles. Now this is a step that can be a little bit more tricky, as sometimes the poles need to be bent or arranged a certain way to get it to fit properly, but once in place it is just going to be the same pin locking mechanism to put it into place. Now the next step is to grab his arm pieces with the hands and then just snapping it into place just like so, and then later on being screwed on properly so it doesn't pop back out. So as already mentioned before, we are going to screw the arm into place so it doesn't move, and it shouldn't be too hard, and I definitely advise using a screwdriver, but for my case I'm not going to be using it in any serious circumstances, so I don't have too much concern of the arms or head falling off. Now one of the final steps for setting Grim up is to put on his head. Now this is one of my absolute favorite molds that Spirit has ever done for a skeleton, if not ever, and I think it came out phenomenal. But either way, what you're going to want to do is put the head through this small hole at the top of the animatronic, and then plug in the head wire that goes down towards the spine. As mentioned before, you're going to want to grab the small wire coming from the head that goes and plugs into the wire coming up from the spine. Now once you hear that tiny little click, you know that it is officially plugged in. Now on the bottom here, you can see we have a step head jack, an external speaker jack, the volume control knob, an on, off, and sensor switch, and then the plug for the DC adapter. Now the last step is just to plug in that wire into Grim, and then your setup is complete. If you have any other questions, make sure to comment down in the comment section below, and I'll be sure to answer them as soon as possible. Now without any further ado, your Grim is complete.
Your host is not here right now. They're busy burying something in the backyard. But we'll have loads of fun while they're gone. The night is young, and I'm ready to party. Are you? You best be careful where you tread on this dark night. You don't know who you will run into. Creatures and creepy crawlies lurk out from every shadow. Why, I was just hiding in your closet with the other skeletons.